Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei hated Rias from the start part 3. Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Mr. Literature Connoisseur for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. Let's start this video. It was homeroom time, but the student council office was packed with students. There were almost 24 faces in this place, and the atmosphere was slightly tense. The source was the small dispute between two childhood friends and rivals. The source of these two high-class female devils was a young man in their school who was gone missing, presumably dead, for 2 days. If I know you're planning something very underhanded like this, I'll take Haidu as my servant myself. I gave you a chance to invite him into your peerage out of courtesy because you're my childhood friend and you're in desperate situation, Rias. Sometimes, you're rash, I know this very well, but I never thought you were Thistlo. If he has become your servant, I will feel a slight regret and light annoyance, but I'll accept it in the end. But now, he is probably dead because you're guiding him like a donkey with carrot and stick towards his own death. You know what I hate the most, with my dream as it is wasting good potential. And because of you, somebody with good potential is wasted like that. Not only you have thrown away my kindness and sacrifice to you like a useless crap, but you have wounded my pride as student council president who swears to protect a student in this school, as well. The nerve you have. It was truly rare for Sona Citri, giving an earful rants filled with poison with high voice towards Rias Gremory, her childhood friend. However, this time was understatement because somebody she covets has gone missing, presumably dead, because Rias Gremory's reckless plan. Rias looked to the side, not staring back at her best friend's eyes because she was annoyed and ashamed. She has never been chided like this, except by her mother. Not even her father or big brother has her before. And there was also the fact she has done something that offended her best friend greatly. Oh, Rias Gremory knew how her best friend has an eye for Issei Haidu, but Sona has given her a chance to invite the unofficial second prince of Kuo into her peerage out of their long friendship. And now, she has screwed it because her reckless plan. At that moment, Rias wished she could listen to Akenos and invited Haidu normally, instead of planning to kill him via fallen angel's hands. But alas, what happens happens. There was no way to go back into the past, even with magic. And now she has made a big blunder that threatens her long life relationship between her and Sona Citri. After Sona finished her long, spiteful rants, the South Carolina office became silent. The room was filled with awkwardness, so thick that could be cut it easily like hot knife through butter. If only it was a normal student, Sona Citri would not go ballistic like that. If only it was normal student, Sona would reprimand Rias because her wounded pride as student council president. Issei Haidu was somebody Sona truly wants in her peerage. Issei Haidu has a potential, limitless even. He was really smart, for a commoner he has always been number 1 in the second year. Always get straight A's in the class. Have a good record in PE. Good comprehension ability. Above average, borderline genius and IQ-wise. Knock knock. The tension was cut by a knocking sound. Sona's and Ria's eyes narrowed at that. There was a barrier that sends away human with subtle mind influence, but somebody has knocked the door. Of course, it made them wary and surprised. Sona sent a subtle glance to her servants. Everybody except Haruko Nomura have similar thought with their king. Haruko Nomura was the freshman, and the newest servant of Pawn belonged to Sona Citri. Her knowledge of supernatural and its intricacies was still shallow. It was understandable Haruko doesn't know what's truly happens. Rias also exchanged subtle glance with her servants. And at that moment, everybody was ready for action. Pushing her glass lightly, "You can enter, Sona," then permitted whoever knocked the door for entrance. The door was opened slowly. What appears behind the door sent a ripple of surprise towards everybody in the room. Brown hair. Light brown eyes. Tall build that was taller than average Japanese. Handsome face. And sophisticated aura only somebody was born with it. The one who entered the student council office was no other than their missing, presumably dead, student Issei Haidu. "Excuse me, oh, am I disturbing an important meeting between South Carolina and Orc?" The young man asked with light tone. There was no ounce of sorry in his tone. "Issei Haidu-san." Sona breathed out in a daze. She was surprised because this was something she could not foresee. "Senpai." But Haruko also spoke out in surprise. However, a quick glance from Tsubaki Sinra stopped her, silent. "Yeah. Sorry for the intrusion. I want to report for my absence in the past 2 days. You can sit. I am also curious of your sudden disappearance, Haidu-san. You have never skipped a class without notice since you enrolled here," said Sona. Issei sat on the empty seat calmly. His body language showed ease, as if the tension in the room did not bother him. Furthermore, everybody could see clearly how Issei deliberately ignoring the occult research club. That question rang inside several heads in the room. Some already connected the dot that Issei Haidu wasn't a normal human. After all, he has ignored a barrier existence outside of South Carolina office. Dear Haidu-kun, Ryakusaka put a cup of tea on the table in front of Issei. And the mysterious young man took a sip elegantly. Very well done, Kusaka-san. This tea is finely made. Issei praised Sona's bishop with an earnest tone. When Ria heard it, red tint spread on her pale cheeks. The sudden blood rush was from excitement. She became bashful by Issei's honest praise. It was an open secret that Issei Haidu was more famous, more gentlemanly than Kiba Udo. His handsome appearance did not have a girlish aura like Kiba's handsome face. More than that, he has never declined the girls over to go out, unlike Kiba. Though he was the unofficial #1 gentleman of Kuo, he did not make enemy out of male student population. The secret was in when he was asked out for normal outing by female population. Whenever he was invited, he would drag some male students with him. From her second-year servants, Sona found out quite a bit about Issei Haidu. In fact, he has turned Tomo Meguri's taste from younger boy into him. Besides that, Issei Haidu was also famous around freshmen and seniors. For the freshmen, he was known as helpful senior, and there was no small amount of female freshmen becoming his fangirls and the male freshmen respecting him. In the last year circle, Issei was known as a genius because he understands the seniors' curriculum, though he was only second year. Sona was aware of that, and she has found out Issei had taken advanced degree in mechanic and philosophy in the Tokyo University. Issei was also close with student council and school staff because his helpful nature in maintaining the school's equipment. For Sona, who was 100% serious with her job as student council president, Issei Haidu was somebody she has taken a quite liking. For a normal human, Issei was like unpolished gem in Sona Citri's eyes. When she found out he was a sacred gear holder, Sona's desire in coveting him has grown into a new degree. However, unbeknownst by everyone, they have danced in Issei's tune all along. Now, Sona found out Issei Haidu was more than a normal human. She has become wary of him, of course, but her desire to make him join her also grew up. Excuse me, Issei Haidu-kun. Rias Gremory finally opened her mouth. However, Issei still ignored her and sent a polite look to Sona instead. Watching that, Sona held back her smirk and pushed the rim of her glasses slightly. So, let we start our business, Kaichu. Everybody from Occult Research Club narrowed their eyes with Issei's blatant rudeness. The student council members showed varying expression. Tsubaki raised her eyebrow in curiosity. Momo Hanakai gave Issei a weird look. Tsubasa Yura has an amused glimmer in her eyes. Amo, Ria and Raruko sent a worried glance towards Issei. After all, he has offended the scion of Duke Gremory in the room, deliberately nonetheless. Interesting. He deliberately did this then, he knows about everything it seems. Sona mused in interest. And then, she opened her mouth, giving her answer. Of course, Haidu-san. So, where have you been in the past 2 days? The school staff has called your home, but there was nobody accepted it. Of course, it wasn't teacher who called over Haidu's household. In fact, it was Ria who called over. Issei did not know about the caller, but he knew there was a call yesterday. And the student council president did not know that Issei was in his home all along. Their life tracking spell was bugged by Issei at that day. Though Issei wasn't as good as current Beelzebub, his advanced mind could recreate a bastardized version of the Kankara formula, which could affect a normal spell. Excuse me, are you ignoring me intentionally, Issei Haidu? Aren't you being rude? Before Issei could answer Sona, Rias spoke first with a fronted tone. Her eyes narrowed in anger. Rias was angry because she was ignored. She was the heiress of House of Gremory, nobody has a goal to ignore her before. It wounded her pride. Then, that happens. The temperature in the room dropped as if Sona's big sister unleashed her power. The room has become cold. Everybody could see their breath condensed into a white fog. The temperature dropped not because an ice element spell or a spell that gives similar effect. It happens because pure, unadulterated intent to kill, death, destruction, domination, maim, tear the body apart, shed the blood, crush the innards, burn to ash, torture, rip off the limbs, mutilation, brutal death, kill, 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 kill. The more experienced devils in the room could hold back the terror from incomprehensible killing intent, but they were still affected. Unfortunately, Raruko Nomura, who was only being a devil for few weeks, shook in terror. Her boulder has given up and she has leaked unconsciously. Besides Raruko, Kaneko Taoju was experiencing something similar with Sona's pawn. However, it was because Kaneko's sensitive side, her Nekashu aspect. Everybody's wide eyes filled with terror stared at the brown-haired young man. He was the source of the absurd amount of killing intent. His previously polite mask has slipped, replaced by a cold, emotionless mask and dead eyes, as if he was a corpse. And he turned his face to Rias Gremory slowly. Rias took a step back in fear when her eyes connected with emeralder eyes with black vertical reptilian slit. Those eyes were like gripping her heart, threatening to crush her heart anytime. Suddenly, the monstrous pressure vanished, as if it was only illusion. But everybody was sure it wasn't illusion. What happened a moment ago was real. Haruko-chan, hi, is Issei senpai. A shaky tone filled with fear replied back. Haruko stared at Issei's warm, light brown eyes. Rias was taken aback by the quick change. Could you go here please? Shakily, Haruko moved towards Issei. Her steps were cautious and conflicted. Everyone in Citri's group unconsciously prepared themselves for a sudden confrontation. When Haruko stood in front of Issei, the brown-haired man patted Haruko's head softly, surprising everybody. There, take it easy Haruko-chan. Sorry if senpai made you afraid. If you want to blame somebody, blame the spoiled little princess over here. Rias did double take by Issei's words. Her earlier fear left aside, replaced by agitation. She gazed sharply at me, like a courageous calf in front of a starving tiger. What did you mean by that, Issei Haidu? Saying this, Rias has forgotten any suffix for Issei's name. But, Issei ignored her. Issei moved his hand in front of Haruko's drenched skirts, alerting the Citri group and making Haruko embarrassed and afraid. But, what he does next surprised them. The droplets of stink liquid were extracted out from Haruko's panties and skirts. And then the stink liquid burned into nothingness, not even the stink odor remained. After that he took her wallet and gave many 500 yen coins to Haruko. Could you help me buying me 2 drinks? You can take your time too. Issei put the coins on Haruko's palm. Haruko sent an inquiry stare toward Sona. When Sona gave her confirmation, she gave Issei a timid nod. Issei patted Haruko's head softly and then his face returned to Rias. At that moment, Haruko immediately went out of the South Carolina office, too afraid for something that would happen. I meant what it entails, little princess. Said Issei bluntly towards Rias. Stop mocking me. I demand respect from me. In your dream stupid girl. Do you have something that can make me respect you? Your status as my senior. A senior student of high school wouldn't stage a death for her junior. You're only pretending to be a good student while the truth say the otherwise. At least, the other princess is serious with her responsibility. And your status as heiress of dukedom in the name of Duke Gremory. There are too much flaws in you that make you unsuited for it. There were gasps from merciless taunt. However, Rias did not ask why Issei Haidu knew about this or what he was, but she was affronted because Issei has ridiculed her. What do you mean? Stop spouting nonsense. Speak now or what? Kill me? A wasted space like you have a gall to challenge me? If that your brother, who was enthroned as the holder of Lucifer's title centuries ago, the one of 3 super devils in existence, and the member of current top 10 strongest being in the world, I'll accept it gladly. Heck, it will be a long, good fight I enjoy. But a delusional, spoiled little girl who uses your family's name and prestige as you wish, while ignoring your responsibility as the scion of House of Gremory, stop your daydreaming and wake up, face the reality little girl. Reality isn't a sunshine and rainbow like how your spoiled puny brain always imagines. Rias gaped at me. She was tongue-tied and could not argue back. Sona and her entire peerage, bar Haruko who was outside, stared at Issei as if he was crazy. After all, he has taunted the current Lucifer in front of his little sister. But, they knew. They knew Issei was strong, scarily strong. The previous heart-shattering killing intent was something which a weak being could not create. Only strong existence could create such potent killing intent. However, Ria's brother was also powerful. And he has a gut to taunt the current Lucifer. That, they speculated who was Issei Haidu truly. Unfortunately, Orc was filled with hot-headed teenagers. Instead thinking and connecting the dot like Sona and her servants, they bared their fangs fearlessly. Stop disrespecting my king, Issei Haidu. Don't blame us if we become impolite with you. Akeno Himejima joined the fray. She has a hostile look at me. You? A little girl with daddy issue who can't accept reality has guts to challenge me. Shut up. You don't know anything about me. Oh? How can I not know what has been happening in this city? Don't look at me as a blind, oblivious person like your master, Akeno Himejima. I have monitored everything in this city before Duke Gremory and Prince Itri became caretakers of this city. I even have monitored this city from when Tauji Shidu, the exorcist who stationed here before he and his family went to England 8 years ago. I also knew what happened in the neighboring city where Himejima clan acting as its protector. My problem is with this spoiled girl, not you. But if you hostile to me, I won't hold back in destroying sadomasochistic, selfish girl like you. Issei stared at Akeno, dead on the eyes. Her earlier bravado has vanished, replaced by uneasiness. Then, Issei's eyes moved to Kiba and Kaneko. And desist your pitiful hostility now, stray kitten and the one of 2 survivors of Holy Sword Project. Kaneko narrowed her eyes by my word, but Kiba's eyes opened wide by them. D2 but Kiba whispered softly in disbelief. However, the heat of the moment made everybody ignored Kiba and my words for him. Issei ignored them and stared back at Rias. The red-haired devil expression was conflicted. At the moment Issei diverted his attention from her mind has cooled down. She was aware she could not win against him and fight. And she did not want her servants to be harmed too. Issei Haidu power was the real deal. Then, she opened her mouth and said weakly. Haidu-kun, what I have done until you're against me like this. Rias tried to find a peaceful outcome between her and Issei Haidu. She pulled an innocent act in this farce. She was sure her track was hidden and Issei did not know her actual plan in the past. But alas, Rias' Gremory has always been pampered. She was inexperienced and her scheming plan was not that great. Everything she owns was because her doting father and big brother. So far, she hasn't done any notable achievement by herself. Instead of answering, Issei laughed boisterously. Unbeknownst by Rias, she has dug her own grave deeper with what she has said. Stared at Rias' Gremory with a ridiculing look. A spoiled, stupid girl like her was not suited to get a respect from me. After all, she was nothing but a selfish Princess Wanab who rides the coattail of her family's prestige. It was a shame only Venelana Gremory who kept the leash on her, but because she was only the one person, this spoiled girl became a stereotypical teenager, which rebelled against their parents. Are you deaf, little girl? What do you mean, Issei Haidu-kun? I don't understand for this enmity you directed to me. With a stiff smile, Rias replied back. Snort I let out a cold snort, my eyes boring to her skull coldly. You want to know? Well, I said it before, wasn't I? You cannot keep your innocent mask anymore. Do you think I am oblivious of your plan to kill me? But, I have never had such an insidious plan like that, huh? Then, what shall I call your plan in staging my death by fallen angels' hands? It wasn't your fault at all. But there wasn't me. How can you accuse me without? Rias, are you sure about this? Everyone's eyes opened wide by the loud voice echoing in the student council office. Akeno Himejima's eyes were the widest one. After all, it was her voice. My right hand was slightly raised onto the air, paralleling my palm opening wide. Above my palm, a small magic circle smaller than my palm glowed blood red. The voice came from this magic circle. The day I went out to the fake date with Rainer, I have implemented a multi-purpose magical construct inside Orc as a bug. It hid well and has recorded this conversation by my command. I have prepared everything thoroughly and I would not let any argument against me comes out, which will make me like a fool. I have planned for this day long ago, humiliating Rias' Gremory thoroughly was must for this story to go smoothly. The magical recorder continued. I do not have any other choice left. This is the only way I can think of. That one was Rias' voice. Next would be Akeno's turn again. I know by orating his death in their hand, he will give you his loyalty and trust after you reincarnated him. However, how if he finds out about the truth that you are abandoning him to die? Why don't you choose another way with less risk than this? There is the other way to recruit him of course. But he won't give his trust and loyalty to me immediately. To build up trust between us, as the master and the servant, we need time. And time is what we are lacking for if he finds out about this. It is going to be a problem in the future. I can only hope that my care and affection for him can lessen the impact somehow. I do not need worry about it. After all, my family is known for their affection to their servant. He is going to accept it even though the truth comes out. I am sure of it. When the recorder finished, the magic circle vanished. I lowered my hand and stared at Ria's stupefied face. Then, I spoke with a condensing tone. I said I always watched over this place before your daddy becomes the caretakers with Prince Itri, right? Do you think I was bluffing, little girl? I paused for a moment and then I continued, this one was for baiting Rias. And to sate your curiosity, I wasn't bluffing when I said I'll enjoy a fight with your overpowered siskin of brother. Don't you ever dare disrespect my brother, Issei Haidu. With sharp and poisonous words, Rias rebuked my words, falling over my obvious trap. Disrespect your brother? Weren't you the one who have disrespected what your brother had fought over in the past Devil's Civil War, little girl? I ridiculed her. When I saw her confused look, I continued. The current mass had fought bitterly against their kind centuries ago in the name of reformation of the devil. After the prestigious 72 pillars of devil has fallen until only 34 pillars remain in the aftermath of the Great War, the reformers decided it was the time for devil to change their way of life, keeping their survival in the world. Devil has been looked down as a villain since the bygone era. Their way of life in stealing human soul has been seen as threat to the other righteous pantheons. In the other side, the other devil faction, the one you called Old Mau faction, which wanted to continue the war to avenge their fallen kin in Great War, wanted to fight until the bitter end. Devil faced dangerous dark day at that era. In the end, the Civil War happened to ensure devil-kind survival. Don't you think your insidious plan to kill me and turn me into your servant is similar with how the devil of the olden day doing their thing? Do you ever think what you have done is actually no different than what your brother had fought in the past? Do you ever think how hypocrite you were when you told me to stop disrespecting your brother while you were spitting on your brother's sacrifice? Think, little girl, think. Stop being a selfish girl and think the others beside yourself. I know devil is greedy creature, but the excessive greediness only spells a trouble for you, just what you're facing currently. Rias bit her lower lips, her blue eyes glimmering with frustration. She could not reply because everything I said was right. I was sure everyone in the room was curious how I knew so much about the supernatural world, but I would not stop. I would not let Rias has a breathing moment to calm her fluctuating emotion. I would push her wrong button ruthlessly until she breaks. You're always too excessive with your greediness. You treat your servants with kindness, true, but it is for self-satisfaction, isn't it? You only think the other as long as it has suited your need. You have been bathed in luxury so much until you have become heartless and lost your rationality. When something does go against what you want, you can accept it and commit something stupid and irrational. That's no different than what devils in the bygone era did. Do you think your family's prestige will forever help you out against the trouble your selfish act has pulled? Do you think your big brother can always keep you safe with his responsibility as a ruler? I'll tell you, little girl, the answer is no. There is no to such thing. If you keep how you're always thinking, you're not only putting yourself into dangerous situation. You will drag your servants, your family, or even your brother into something very dangerous. Don't think just because your brother is powerful he has become invincible. There are more scary monsters in this world which can crush your brother into oblivion easily. I paused to take a breath. I watched Ria's reaction and saw tears pooled on the corner of her eyes. It was tears of anger and frustration. She could not release her frustration and it condensed into tears. The other, even Sona, pureblood devil who should know about this fact, focused at my words with rapt attention. And then, I kept my ruthless, painful exclamation. I know the marriage contract between House of Gremory and House of Phoenix. It is something which spread over in the underworld. And I am also aware how you're against this idea. But, shouldn't you aware it is your responsibility as a scion of House of Gremory, the heiress nonetheless? The House of Gremory has always faced a bad rumor because their trait of loving servant excessively. At least, the Duke Gremory has House of Marchocias as their defender in the past, but now, the other devils' households look at as weakness. No, not only them. In the supernatural world, the world where the strong rules over the weak and only power that's matter, kindness has always become the synonymous of weakness. And beside your big brother, your household has never produced something noteworthy for devil kind in past few centuries. And because your brother has been enthroned with Lucifer's tittle, in the eyes of the masses his achievements belong to Lucifer line, not Gremory. I paused for another breath. Talking about the intricacies politic of underworld was surely made throat sore. However, the glee from ridiculing Rias was worth of the trouble. Now, can you think why there is marriage contract between you and third son of House of Phoenix, which the status is lower than you? There is because House of Phoenix has prestige that surpasses the House of Gremory's. Gremory is a duke and Phoenix is marquis in the name only. Why do you think there was a marriage contract between your father and mother? It was because Duke Gremory had always been looked down in this ruthless dog-eats-dog world because their kindness. With the support from the only surviving great king of 72-pillar Gremory line would not fall and be forgotten. And Serzich's Gremory was born and became the noteworthy achievement belonged to Gremory and Baal. But, he is now Lucifer. All prestige your brother has earned as Gremory is useless. And then, the House of Gremory fell into another predicament, and to get another support the marriage contract between the House of Gremory and the House of Phoenix happened. It is your job as next duke of your household to keep your household exists. Etheres must be another way. I will protect my family's line and prestige. But, I will stay with my decision to abolish this stupid marriage contract. Ahahahaha. I laughed because Ria's ridiculous exclamation. What are you going to do, huh? Are you as powerful as your brother? Do you have blessed mind like Citri's scion over here? Can you live a torturous life until you reach power needed like current heir of great King Baal? Can your tears heal grave wound? Du will become the champion of rating game, just like my dream. Yes, I'll make my dream becomes true. Rias told me strongly, with absolute confidence. But her pooling tears kind of destroyed the image in my eyes. How long? After Rias gave me a clueless reply, I sneered at her. How long is it until you have enough power to be the champion? The current champion, Dayhauser of the fallen house of Belial is strong, an ultimate level borderline Satan level in power. How long is it until you reach your dream, little girl? You hear Rias stuttered and could not look at me in the eyes. Decade. 2 decades. Century. 2 centuries. Do you think that old bunch in the Devil Council will wait until that long? Your household will lose its prestige before that can happen, and House of Gremory will fall into extra devil classification, just like the likes of Abaddon and Bune, which helped the losing side in the Civil War, degraded into the same level as traitor in the eyes of masses. I gave Rias a ridiculing look and a mocking smile. Well, of course she could keep her family's name safe if she could gain a Longinus possessor. In the light novel, Gremory's name was not smeared after the fallout with House of Phoenix because the existence of the Red Dragon Emperor as their servant. It was enough reason to give them face and keep their prestige and name safe. However, in this world everything was different. And what do you think will happen next? Ridicule. Endless ridicule. The magnificent and kind name of Gremory will be a laughingstock because her heiress cannot uphold her responsibility. Little girl, if you don't want to be married like that, you should disavow yourself from Gremory's family tree, freeing yourself from the engagement. But, of course, you won't dare to do that, won't you? After the lavish, luxurious life for 2 decades, you won't throw something like that, right? Truly, you are nothing but a delusional, selfish, spoiled little girl. Looking at how pathetic you are, it makes me want to puke. Sob hicks. Tears finally fell on her white cheeks. Ria's body shook in frustration and anger. She could not take it any longer. Then, she left the student council office, running away from me and hiding her shame. Akeno, Kiba and Kaneko gave me a last glance before they left too. However, Kiba's look was not a hostile look, it was curious and inquisitive. Ah no, excuse me. Why are Gremory-senpai and the orc leaving? I also saw Gremory-senpai crying. Haruko came back with a plastic bag just seconds after Gremory group left the room. Don't worry. We have honest adult talk. I answered easily. Snort an adult talk, he said. He has torn Ria's pride apart mercilessly, and he said an adult talk. Sona grumbled under her breath, but I could hear it clearly. Well, it was an adult giving a talk to a little girl. Sometimes, that happens. I joked lightly. Sona gave me incredulous look. Besides, there is a saying, never step on sleeping dragon's tail, or you will regret it. I called over Haruko and took a can while give the other one to her. With a soft thank you and red face she stood back with Sona's other servants. I broke the can's seal and drank it in one gulp. I savored the cool sensation after tearing Ria's the new one. After that, I focused my attention back to Sona. So, I holed myself in my house in the past 2 days, preparing for today's farce. Thankfully, it went as expected. I shrugged carelessly. Wait. What do you mean by it went as expected? Sona gave me a surprised look. I gave her a mock-affronted look. Do you think everything happened before as a spur of the moment? To tell you the truth, I always know about something like this will happen. In fact, every word I said before was a carrot and a stick to bait Rias. She is good, but not enough. Besides, her emotion was jumbled and it made easier for me to guide the conversation. Sona repositioned her glasses while inhaling the air, trying to calm her nervousness after she knew how scary I was in mental warfare. It seems you know very well about Underworld and everything about it, not only the Underworld. I know about other pantheons too, except the closed-up one like the Heaven faction. Care to play with me while we are talking? I am sure you have many questions for me. I used invisible strands of magic to take a cheese board and open it. And I set the piece with mine as the black one, with the same trick. From other perception, it was like telekinesis. Sure, Sona agreed simply. Before the game started, everybody in the student council office crowded around us. Tsubaki, Tsubasa and Momo were standing behind Sona, while Ria, Tomo and Haruka were standing next to me. Sona took the first move and moved the pawn in front of her king, the typical opening move. Meanwhile I moved my right knight. So, what are you? The white one or the red one? Well, you really do not disappoint me, princess. You truly have a blessed mind. Stop calling me princess and answer me. Don't kill me with curiosity. What are you? A cat. Rolling her eyes, Sona ignored my joke and pressed me further for answer. So, you're not fun. Well, the white one with Grigori, and he is presumably the strongest white dragon emperor in the past, current and the future at least. My rival isn't somebody weak. Sona's fingers paused for moving her piece, surprised. However, she calmed immediately. There are many things I want to know from you. Shoot. Well, the first is about your proclamation that you watch over this city and how you got that recording. My question is, are you planting a bug in my office too? Do you understand I can sue you because you breached my privacy? Sona gave me a sharp look. And I smirked at her mischievously. Why, of course, in fact I am not the only one who spies on you, Kaichu. Wait. What are? Don't tell me. Sona panicked when my words registered in her mind. At that moment, a pink-colored magic circle glowed in one corner. Sona's expression became stiff and desperate immediately. Yep. If my info about your sister is right, she is the other one. I stared the glowing magic circle with a smile filled with expectation. As Sona showed a desperate, stiff face and her servants showed a confused face, with Haruko as exception since she only became devil for short time, I waited the person to appear through the teleportation magic. A moment later, somebody Sona loved dearly yet always gave her headache arrived. A beautiful girl with long, black hair tied into twin tails and blue eyes. She also has a childlike body, albeit with large breasts. Just like portrayed in the anime, she dresses in magical girl's clothing from Magical Girl Milky Spiral 7 an anime from this world, but not exist in my previous world, magic wand and all. Serafall Leviathan, formerly known as Serafall Citri, is the current Satan with the title of Leviathan and Sona Citri's older sister. She is the Satan in charge of foreign affairs. I recalled the intel I have about her. She was the opposite of Sona, who acts serious. Serafall is cheerful and possesses a childlike personality, which is evidenced when she addresses everybody with affectionate suffix in the end of their name. She also has a deep sister complex and has a tendency to get her sister into embarrassing situations. However, the new generation devils never knew Serafall was the mirror image of her sister before the Civil War, serious and all. Then again, war was always something nasty. And to keep one's sanity check, everybody dons a unique, strange mask. It wasn't PTSD, but it was a way to cope with the strain from stress and forget the horror. Serafall is the older sister of Sona Citri and the oldest sibling of the Citri family. During the war between the old Satan faction and anti-Satan faction, she was part of the anti-Satan faction that opposed the old Satan faction, which ended in their victory, and she was eventually promoted to the position of Satan Leviathan centuries ago, losing her right as the heir of the Citri clan in the process. Unlike Serzich's Gremory who keeps the order in the underworld solely for his close people's sake, family and all, Serafall truly tried hard to maintain the illusion of peace for everybody's sake, because deep down, she doesn't want the new generation experiencing the tragedy and bloodshed like what she has experienced. Though she was a devil, she has considerate heart as a woman. Truly, she is a fine specimen. However, a true selfless person is something not existed in this cruel world. Everybody always has selfishness in their heart, moreover if it was a devil. A truly selfless devil is not existed. Though Serafall keeps the devil faction safe from the outside influence, it was still for her own satisfaction. YHOO, your lovely miraculous magical girl Leviathan is here. Beware you villainy cun. Leviathan won't let you harm a single strand of Sotan's hair. Exclaiming that before her teleportation magic circle could disappear, Serafall did many cute poses, which flashed off her white with pink strips panties for me to feast. A real-life magical girl. Who's that? Haruko, who wasn't aware of the newcomer's identity, asked. Her expression was priceless. She's the current Mao Leviathan and also Kaichu's elder sister. Tsubaki answered. The Mao Leviathan. Kaichu's elder sister. Haruko let out a startled sound. But, a stern look from Tsubaki made her silent. I stared Serafall from head to toe with a calm mask. To be honest, she was hundreds times cuter than the image my spy have given me, or the illustration in the light novel. She exuded unearthly cuteness, and her petite body with massive busts enhanced it with a seductive presence. Basically, instead of innocent cuteness a preteen usually has, Serafall has seductive cuteness that makes the onlookers want to sink their fangs and claws to her. I wasn't an exception. Well, she is a devil after all. However, I remembered the reason why she is the Mao who is in charge of foreign affairs. She has a good persuasion skill, and her cheerful mask was something that leads the conversation into her tune. I moved from my seat to Serafall through the slow world. As I did that, Serafall's eyes caught my fast movements and her eyes opened wide. But alas, she was taken aback and I already entered her personal space before she could pull herself. That speed was not my fastest speed. If I went all out the world would feel like it stopped dead on its track. Besides the absurd speed I could move with my power, I also used a supplementary magic to help my perception. This supplementary magic is something I invented after I remembered Tsugumiya's acceleration and the accelerated world in Cell World. There was always a lag between body movement and perception in high-speed movement. The only way to fix is with experience. But I could not accumulate enough experience with how fast this world progressed. I have the other things I must do. In the end, I used this supplementary magic to help my perception while my body moved in fast speed. Damn it. I have read the information about you, but the picture doesn't give it justice with the real deal. Your Oi, Kaichu, can I take your sister back? I like her. Her sheer cuteness makes me want to take her as my pet. Let me bring her to my house. Don't worry. I'll treat her right, 3 meals with extra desserts and a comfortable bed. Okay. Let me bring her back. I said that aloud with a childish baby voice as I hugged Serafall with abandon and snuggled my cheek on her smooth lovely cheeks. My limbs locked on her body on the perfect places so she would not break off from my hug suddenly. Sona and her servants were surprised by the sudden development. They gaped at my direction. Meanwhile, Serafall's body froze, her smile becoming stiff for a split second before it looked natural once again. As I hugged Serafall, I utilized a trick Drake has taught me in the past, how to establish pecking order with sheer intimidation. I did not know what kind of hallucination Serafall's brain showed to her, but I could be careless. What important is the outcome, not the process. It was just like a killing intent but different at the same time. Instead of giving a strong intent to kill, this trick lets the target knows I am far, far stronger than the target. Whatever the target tries, it is futile and meaningless against absolute power of Heavenly Dragon in their prime. Well, Dragon Albion was a monster in their prime. They did not fear other with exception of Office and the ultimate existence aka Red Dragon of Apocalypse and the Beast of Apocalypse. Excuse me, Haidu-kun. However, I cannot let you take my sister to your home, as a pet nonetheless. After all, she is the current Leviathan of Devil faction. With an annoyed look, Sona told me that. At that moment, I smelled worry and nervousness from Serafall's for her sister's sake. However, with how good actor she was, her cheery expression and body language did not give a hint. And yet, I could easily find out with my superb draconian smelling sense. I patted Serafall's head softly and sent a pout toward Sona. Thankfully, Serafall understood my subtle gesture to stay calm and go along in this little farce. You're not fun, so tan. I spoke playfully. Stop calling me that. Sona snapped at me in irritation. Then, she continued with soft whispers. Moo, this is because One-sama calling me that, now he will look me down because that stupid pet name. I know Sotan loves her big sis. Is the time finally comes. Is the time for our sisterly love shines. Hue. Leviathan is so happy that she wants to tell the whole world how happy she is. Said Serafall with fake tears falling on her cheeks. She has stopped struggling in my embrace and let me snuggle on her soft body. One-sama. Please stop this stupidity at once. Sona shouted toward Serafall with a red face and pooling tears on the corner of her eyes, feeling embarrassed. Ahahaha, I have read about your siblings' interaction, but I never know it is this refreshing. I laughed lightly, infuriating Sona even more. I shifted my posture slightly. With my arm circled around Serafall's thin waist, I brought her to my seat like an oversized teddy bear's. And then, I put Serafall on my laps. Then, I moved my bishop, taking down Sona's rook on the board. Sona's eyebrow rose slightly as she watched me and Serafall. She was curious to why her sister let me treat her like that. Meanwhile, the other South Carolina members watched dumbfounded because how brazen I treated the Mau Leviathan. Now is your move, Kaichu. Alright. Sona took her own bishop and moved it to corner my knight. It was interesting move, but alas, she faced me. I could easily predict her move. Let's back to the topic. I hope you take whatever you put in my office, Haidu-kun. Sona told me that with a sharp look. Yup. Only, I, Leviathan, Sotan's beloved older sister, can spy on her 24/7. You're not. You will take your thing from my office too, One-sama. Sotan, you're not fun. Sona blinked when two different voices spoke that. Serafall also tilted her head to look at me from the corner of her eyes. And I stared down at Serafall's eyes with light smile. In those blue eyes, I saw curiosity, intrigue, and hint of fear. Do you think Issei senpai and Leviathan-sama is very close? Do they have met before? I don't know. Amo and Rias exchanged words as they watched me. You two seem close. Have you met before? Sona asked in curiosity. Nope, I and Serafall answered at the same time. And we popped the P in our words at the same time too. Are you sure? Pushing up the rim of her glasses, Sona gazed at us sharply. Never, I and Serafall replied back, again, at the same time. We rolled our tongue at the same time too. Serafall took a peek towards me from the corner of her eyes. That time, her eyes slightly narrowed. Again, I gave her calm smile. I pulled her body closer to me, and I secretly enjoyed her soft ass cheeks on my crotch. I have read the report about Serafall thoroughly until I could see what she would do next when she dons her childish mask. I wouldn't dare acting brazenly like that without perfect knowledge of my target. Yes, Serafall Leviathan and Sona Citri was my target. I planned to pull them into my side. Sona has a bright mind that could help me in the future, while Serafall was a Mayu in charge of foreign affair. Those two was important pieces on the board in this early stage. Are you sure you two never met before? I and Serafall shook our head together, my head moving right and left mirroring Serafall's movement. Sona let out a tired, resigned sigh. Then, she focused on the board and she found she was in pinch. I don't care, just take whatever you two put in my office or I will destroy it if I find it by myself. Instead of listening to Sona, I and Serafall ignored her. Villainy-kun, aren't you afraid angering Serzich's-chan when you make Rias-chan crying before? Serzich's-chan is very, very scary, you know. He and Ajuka-chan are top 10 strongest beings for a reason, you know. Serafall asked me suddenly while her wand poked my nose softly. Her eyes glimmered with pure curiosity. She was aware she could not win against me, but she knew how scary Serzich's could be. The gap in power between a mere Satan level and member of top 10 was a dimension apart. Adding Ajuka in, they were known as perfect duo in the Civil War, with Surziches as the spear tip and Ajuka as the pole that support Surziches. But how close we were looked in the eyes, of course Sona and her peerage believed we have met before. But, the truth was in the contrary. We truly haven't met in the past. Well, I have read about her in the light novel in my previous life, but it was different. If that's only Surziches, then I will have a field trip with him. However, if we put Ajuka in, well, that can be quite problematic. Unlike Surziches, who's fighting with both intellect and strength like a stereotypical fighter, Ajuka is somebody who uses his brain and fight. The likes of him and Azazel the scapegoat are annoying to fight as the match dragged on. However, I'm confident because they are not the only one who fights with their mind. I can also fight like them well. It is not like I'm boasting my mind though. I moved my knight to take Sona's queen. Watching Sona's serious and desperate expression, she was aware she would lose, but her pride forces her to not give up the match before it takes conclusion. Aren't you arrogant, villainy kun? But you nailed the role of villain very well, you know. It isn't like I act arrogantly like those stupid vermin who can't back up their arrogance. Besides, you know well what I mean, right? I gave Serafall a playful wink. She replied with a cute pout. That's it, I lose. Sona exclamation stopped my conversation with Serafall. Sona stared on the board with a dazed expression. Around us, Sona's peerage stared on the board in disbelief. However, I and Serafall focused with our conversation. I was aware Serafall was probing me, trying to find out how much of a threat I was. So which side you are on? I am in no one's side. Dragons always do what they want. We are just carefree beings like that. You act like a Gary Stu anime character. Usually, audiences don't like that kind of character because they are dull. Do I look like that? I think I nailed a villainous character perfectly. Yep. You really look like villain. Serafall nodded sagely. Villainy kun, do you want to be the last boss for my TV show? It is going to be awesome. The miraculous magical girl Leviathan keeps the world's peace from the threat of villain Dragon Emperor. It's awesome, isn't it? Tell me, what do you think? Tell me. Tell me. Well, it seems fun. Let me consider it. That was promise. I'll wait your acceptance. Don't make Leviathan waits too long. Then, she put a pensive look and gave me a look. After that, she said something surprised all of us. Nah, do you want to join my peerage? Though I was surprised slightly, I kept my calm smile as I stared at the Leviathan. To tell you the truth, I felt a little bit complicated inside. In one side, Serafall was the most liked character in DxD the series. In fact, I took a liking towards her character in the past. If I was normal people, I would accept her invitation without thinking. Unfortunately, I must decline. Well, if you have a piece to reincarnate me into devil, then why not? I told her with a calm voice, my smile not wavering. I was sure Serafall knew about it well. Though evil P said Ajuka created is good, but it has limits. It cannot reincarnate Buddha or powerful gods. Though I am neither Buddha nor gods, I had unlocked Drake Gosh's full power. My current power is amongst the strongest beings in this world. Humming a mysterious tune with melodious voice, Serafall summoned her evil P set. I was surprised when I listened to her voice. Her voice was beautiful, like sirens or mermaids. I enjoyed that dauntingly beautiful tune as Serafall took all of her evil peace with fake clumsiness. It was a shame she wasn't my woman yet. I would enjoy her voice more if she was my woman. My desire to take Serafall rose significantly by that. When Serafall's set was laid on the table beside the normal cheese pieces, I saw it was almost unused, only her rook has been used. It was for reincarnating Behemoth centuries ago. Serafall narrowed her eyes as no one of her pieces gave reactions. It is a shame I cannot reincarnate villainy kun with a fake sulky tone, Serafall said that. However, she already knew about this. This was nothing but a farce. Meanwhile, Sona has a disbelieving expression. Just like me who knows the truth of Mayu's set, Sona must have been told by her sister, Serafall. The first set of evil piece Ajuka has completed was unlike the current set spread over the underworld. If one Isama's pieces weren't responding toward you, then there is no way my piece can turn you into devil. Said Sona with a regretful tone. No. Sotan is sad. Leviathan wants to cheer up little Sotan, but it is impossible because Leviathan cannot do anything. Why, when Leviathan finally has a chance to show her sisterly affection to her beloved Sotan, the world always denies it. Screw you world. In one of these days, I shall return the Ice Age. Mark my words. One-Isama. Please be prudent. If you really bring back the Ice Age, many factions will hunt you for sure. These sisters said something scary. I put a thoughtful mask. Then, I took one pawn from Serafall's set on the table. And put Serafall's body on the floor. At that moment, Serafall let out a relieved sigh. Structural analysis I intoned in my mind. Immediately, a small, red-colored magic circle appeared on the base of the piece. It rose slowly, scanning the small thing in my palm. Nah, villainy kun, what are you doing? Tilting her head cutely, Serafall asked me that. Her blue eyes glimmered with curiosity and wariness, though the curiosity outweighed her wariness. I ignored her and continued scanning the small, little thing. The information entered my mind like a flood. I gritted my teeth because how much the secret it has. My forehead drenched by sweats. I do kun. Are you alright? Villainy kun, are you okay? You won't explode suddenly, right? Issei kun. Snap it out. Senpai. Many concerned voices called me, but I ignored them. I focused digesting the absurd amounts of information from the evil piece. I did not know how long I was like that, but when it was over I took a big inhale and laughed out loud. Wahahahahaha. Eh? Huh? What's it? Why villainy kun's laughing creepily? Did he plan to take over the world? Has he been pulled into the dark side? Sona and Serafall showed a confused face, mirroring each other. At that moment, they were truly looked like sisters. I threw the evil piece on the air slightly and caught it in a strong grip. Then balance break, I activated my balance breaker. However, what I activated wasn't the normal one, it was the subspecies I have created, Welsh Dragon's heavenly essence. Instead of exploding out, the power of heavenly dragon imploded in. I have created this subspecies balance breaker because I really did not fancy the bulky armor created from Drake's draconian power. I have trained my body madly to complete this subspecies, harsher than Serafall Bale's training. My body could explode into mess of gore if my physical body could not contain the power of the subspecies. A thin, red-colored aura covered my body. My outwards appearance changed slightly. Red lines intersecting on my skin, creating scale patterns. My brown hair grew longer and turned blood red. My nails and canines elongated into sharp claws and fangs. My eyes turned green with vertical black-colored reptilian slit. Emerald gems appeared on the backhands, below the elbows, upper arms, torso and knees like a protrusions. This was the appearance of my subspecies balance break. Instead of externalizing it, I internalized Drake's power. Red Dragon Emperor, what are you planning? A serious, sharp question caught the tension. Serafall has put away her childish mask, and she stared at me with wary and serious expression. However, I could see hesitance and nervousness in her blue eyes. She was aware I was stronger, but she acted strong for her sister's sake. I just gave Serafall a quick glance, and then boost. Following my word, the emerald jewels protruding on my body lit up. Then, mechanical sounds echoed in the room like a broken recorder. Boost. 7 times, I have been boosted 128 times. It happened in less than a second. Because I internalized Drake's power and aura, nothing leaked out except the thin red hue around my body. With this subspecies, the weaker individual in the room wouldn't be crushed by absurd power I have. This power was good in hiding my true power. Transfer. Red Dragon Emperor, what are you really doing? Serafall asked again, but this time her tone filled with curiosity. I transferred the 128 boost into a concept of value in Serafall's evil piece. The piece glowed brightly, the light escaping through the gaps in my fist. When the process finished, I opened my fist and put the now mutation evil piece on the table, a smug smirk on my face. And I stared at Serafall's gaping face. Serafall wasn't the only one, Sona also gaped in disbelief by what I have done. Impossible, absurd. No way. This is crazy. Dragon Kun, how did you do it? My pawn has become a mutation piece. Nah, what were you doing? Tell me. What I have done is boosting the concept of value in evil piece. I have scanned the evil piece and found out many things hidden in it. Really, Ajuka has my respect for such ingenious little thing. He can be called a god with what he has created. With how arrogant I was, it was hard for me to praise and respect somebody else. However, Ajuka was really something. Wait. You were reverse engineering the evil piece? Yep, I answered Serafall's question with a light nod. Then, you can create your own evil piece. I shook my head. I understand the process, but I don't have the material to create one, and the process takes long time to create one. I believe Ajuka has created a fixed equation to mass produce the set of evil piece. Different type of piece has different trait that needs long time to create. Truly, the Maya Beelzebub has a mind I can respect. I stared at Serafall and continued. Besides, I don't have the use for evil piece. So, don't worry about it. I won't mass produce this and sell it in underground market. Though the idea of recreating evil piece to bolster dragon population was tempting, I put away that idea for now. Too much reincarnated dragon would screw over my plan. Besides, with how I turned the others into dragons so far, I could reap another benefit too. I was sure you know what I mean. Serafall gave me a doubtful look, searching any deceit. When she found none, she nodded with a cheery smile, satisfied. Then, her blue eyes glimmered with a mischievous glint. So, you know everything about evil piece's secret, right? Tell me. Tell me, villainy-kun. Ajuka-chan was always stingy and never told me anything. You must tell me. Hahaha, no way. If the creator keeps many things and that thing is secret, I can't tell the others too. Besides, Ajuka has gained my respect and I will respect the wish of somebody who gained my respect. I stuck out my tongue at Serafall playfully. Haidu-kun, do you know when you stuck out your tongue with such scary appearance, it looks really ridiculous. I stared owlishly at Sona. She took a step back in reflect and fear. She was right, I was still in my balance breaker state and my appearance was quite scary. Then, I laughed again. Bwahahahaha. Now, he looks scarier. I never thought Issei senpai is scary like this, Haruko muttered under her breath. The others nodded towards her assessment. Excuse me, Haidu-kun. I stopped my laugh and turned my attention to Sona. My face showed a calm mask, but inwardly I smirked. I knew what she wants. After all, this was also following the script I have prepared. But could you mutate my piece too? This time, I showed my smug smile. Yui villainy-kun shows a cliché villainy smile. So Tan. Stop that. You will make a deal with devil, no an eldritch abomination. As your beloved big sister, I won't let you sell your soul to this villain dragon emperor. Oi, kettle. Stop calling a pot black. I shot back toward Serafall, but she ignored me and jumped onto Sona, taking advantage over Sona's lowered guard. Oni-sama. Please stop that. Besides, I don't need Haidu-kun to mutate all my pieces. I am satisfied if he can mutate one. Though it is only one piece, mutation piece is something precious. Sona tried to pry Serafall from her. But alas, Serafall has latched on her body tightly. There was no way she could pry Serafall off. Resigning herself, Sona turned her attention back to me. Aside, you won't ask something absurd as repayment, right? She asked with well-hidden nervousness. Let me think about it, I put a thoughtful expression. At that moment, Sona became more nervous. When I wanted to tease her more, her overprotective big sister butted in immediately. MOU, villainy-kun. Leviathan is the only one who can tease Sotan. Back off. Sotan is mine and mine only. Go away, you bully. With a fierce mask like a threatened cat, Serafall said that to me. I waved my hands in mock surrender. Then, I stared toward Sona with my business mask. I can do it, but you will owe me one big favor, and you must keep how I can mutate evil piece's secret. I said that seriously. But you understand I cannot keep it as a secret to Devil's Council, right? Maybe I can forget how you make Rias crying when I meet Serziches later, but this one is my job and responsibility. Serafall spoke with serious face. And I nodded towards her. If those old fossils in your council, I don't care. Do as you wish. Speaking of which, I don't know, you have fallen for me. You try to keep me safe from Mao Lucifer's wrath. I wiggled my eyebrows suggestively toward Serafall. Uo, don't say that aloud. You make me embarrassed, of course anything for you, my darling. Serafall joked back, her tongue sticking out. They are flirting, right? Yes, they are flirting. Is this really their first time meeting? In the background, Ria, Tomo and Raruko exchanged words with half-lidded eyes holding on my skull. Those looks gave me a sense of discomfort somehow. Sona let out another tired sigh, breaking my momentum with Serafall. Excuse me for disturbing you too, but can you mutate my piece now, Haidu-kun? I have thought over and accepted your proposal. Give me the piece. Sona immediately summoned an antique finely crafted box. Her evil piece's case. Then, she took a knight piece left. Her pieces only left single knight and 7 pawns. When I saw that, I shook my head. No, give me one of your 7 pawn. Huh? But, you have interest to reincarnate Saji Genshuru, right? How did you forget it? I asked something oblivious. About that, why were you asking? When Sona told me that, I caught a happy glimmer in Momo's eyes. She was really in love with the pervert. But alas, I planned to drag Momo's crush through the mud in front of Sona and Serafall. Well, that closed pervert is the holder of absorption line. It holds the upper part of Poison Black Dragon's mutilated soul. The closed pervert? Sona asked me with a disturbed face. Yep. Do you know he has librarian fetish and you're his fapping material? Heh, in fact, his dream is to impregnate you. I told Sona bluntly with an amused chuckle. Sona's face turned into a disgusted expression. The others stared towards me with weird looks, wondering how I knew that. Momes gaped towards me in disbelief. Serafall, on the other hand, who's this Saji Genshuru? I don't care if he has the absorption line or a dragon king himself. No one molesting my Sotan. Only me who can molest my Sotan. Villainy-kun. Bring me to this Saji person. Let me freeze his balls, cut open his stomach and turn his innards into ice block. I'll show him why I am the Mao Leviathan. No one can molest my innocent Sotan without my permission, even though it is in his mind. Though Serafall's shout sounded childish, her appearance was contrast with her tone. Her eyes were cold and the temperature around her dropped at rapid pace. One-sama. Please calm down. Moo. Haidu-kun, stop baiting my One-sama's anger already. I chuckled in amusement as Sona tried to calm Serafall. In the end, Sona resigned to her fate and let Serafall latched on her body like a koala on the bark. After Serafall calmed down, Sona continued our discussion. So, you mean I should use the piece you will mutate to reincarnate him into my servant? Yes. Although he is a closet pervert and always imagines impregnating you in his mind, Serafall's body shook and her bloodlust skyrocketed. He has potential. With the existence of a piece of Vitra's mutilated soul, you need more than one piece. If you raise him correctly, he will become powerful, famous in the future. So it is like that. Sona put back the knight piece and took a single pawn piece. I accepted it and mutated it like how I did before. After that, I gave back the now mutated piece to the owner and deactivated my subspecies balance breaker. Sona stared her mutated piece with complex expression. She just got a mutated piece and yet she would use it soon. Moreover, it would be used to turn a pervert who fantasize her. I pity her, really. By the way, Leviathan. Villainy-kun called me with my cute nickname. What's it? Do you want to push me down? Are you thinking something naughty to this innocent Leviathan? No. So Tan, save me. The villain Dragon Emperor wants to do icky thing to me. Shut up. Hee. I blinked as Sona bonked her sister's head in reflex. Her eye fixed towards her mutated piece with longing and miserable expression. I wasn't the only one, everybody also stared at Sona in surprise. I cleared my throat before continued. About that mutated piece, you owe me a favor too. Hee. How? I don't ask you to do it. Heck, you used my piece as a lab rat. No way, I don't owe you anything. Are you planning to not repay your debt? Isn't Devil always repaying her debt? Do you want to have your name dragged through the mud because you're ignoring your debt? And yes, I blackmailed the mad Leviathan. No. Stop guilt tripping me. Don't use that overhanded tactic to me. Villainy-kun. You're truly evil. Evil. An evil eldritch abomination. A debt is a debt. You must pay it if you owe one. I moved to the door, ignoring a complaining Mao. However, before I could open it, Serafall's threat stopped me. Stop. Don't go. I have forgotten what you have done to Rias. If you keep putting me into a debt, I'll tell Serzich's-chan about it. I gave a last glance back and then I spoke calmly. Tell him, I don't care. I will enjoy our fight. After that, I opened the door. Just before I closed the door behind me, Serafall shouted for the last time, "You villain Dragon Emperor. I wish you will die bitten by a dog." I chuckled by Serafall's childish threat and then I shouted back, "The dog will be scared shitless and run away before it can bite me." After that, I moved away from the student council office with a smug smile, very satisfied. My plans other than tearing Ria's pride apart were success. I have pocked 2 favors from the Citri siblings. Though there was something that did not go like I have foreseen, the outcome still gave me advantage. All in all, everything is good. The dog will be scared shitless and run away before it can bite me. The confident, bordering arrogant comeback echoed from the other side of the double door of the student council office. Several seconds passed, the atmosphere was tense. The after effect of Issei's little stunt was still lingering in the air. The silence in the student council office reminded everybody of a graveyard. Each individual in the room was busy with their own thought. Sona Citri kept staring her mutated piece with a forlorn look, feeling complicated. Serafall kept clinging on her little sister, her face showed a serious mask and her eyes narrowed, but everybody ignored that because they were deep in thought. Each one of Sona's servants put on a thoughtful or complicated mask. Tsubaki and Tsubasa have a thoughtful expression on their face, while the rest of student council members have complicated masks on their face. The queen and the rook of Sona couldn't stop thinking about the enigma which is known as Issei Haidu. They have known Issei for more than a year, they were same student in the same school, and have some interactions in the past, but they never thought Issei has such a earth-shattering secret. What they have witnessed a while ago made the curious of the Red Dragon Emperor. He was like a box of mystery, though he has showed his secret, their intuition told them it was only a tip of a massive iceberg. Issei was still hiding more than what he has shown to them. It made them curious, a plain curiosity a teenager in their age usually owns. There was also wariness and apprehension from Issei's absurd power. To think somebody with such power, hiding under their nose without alerting them for a year, gave them uneasy feeling. They were curious about Issei, and their curiosity pushed them to find more, but they were aware it wouldn't be an easy task. Nevertheless, they wanted to know more about the Red Dragon Emperor. They wanted to know the true him, not the mask of normal human teenager he always used in the past. As they thought over these, they were unaware their thought was mirroring each other. Rias, the bishop. Tomo, the knight. And Raruko, the pawn. These 3 maidens have complicated expression on their face. To say they were shocked by what has happened was putting it mildly. They were conflicted by their romantic interest and crush towards the Red Dragon Emperor. To find out their crush hiding something big like that was earth-shattering. It made them questioning Issei. Thus too, what is Issei do actually? Which is the true Issei, the kind, considerate, fun, and overall perfect young gentleman they know, or the scary, vindictive, ruthless, powerful and mysterious Red Dragon Emperor from before? They wanted to know, they felt restless and wanted to ask the subject himself, but they were afraid after his show a while ago. In the end, Rias and Tomo decided to confront the Red Dragon Emperor and find the truth from the subject's own mouth when they have time, while Raruko was still nervous and confused what she should do. Momo, the second bishop of Sona City, has a complicated expression on her face too, which was like Rias, Tomo's and Raruko's. The reason of Momo's complicated expression was different reason from her comrades. She was surprised, annoyed, angry and frustrated by the shameful truth of her crush, Saji Genshiro. She was also annoyed by Issei since he was the one who has shown her crush disappointing secret. In the other hand, Momo also felt bitter relief as she found out the true reason why her crush unnoticed all hints she has dropped under his nose. It was very disappointing to find out her crush actually loves and fantasizes woman who's not her. After contemplating for a while, she decided to find the truth from Saji's own mouth. So and why are you ignoring your One-chan like this? Ooh, with this crushing feeling I feel, is this jealousy? Nuo. How can I feel jealous towards an evil piece? This is that villain Dragon Emperor fault. Mark my word, you evildoer, this miraculous magical girl Leviathan will send the justice you deserved. Serafall shouted childishly while she shook the body of her entranced sister. Serafall antic snapped Sona and everyone else out of their trance. With a tired sigh, Sona pocketed her piece and turned her attention towards her big sister. One-sama, please stop it. It is very unsightly for one of four Devil King to act like that. And please release me at once. Sona tried to release herself from her sister's strong grip. It was arduous task since Serafall latched on her body like a glued stamp post. Thankfully, she could release herself after she forcefully pushed Serafall away. Mouyuyuyu Sotan is meanie. Serafall whined and sulked like little child. She pouted, her lower lip quivered, tears pooled in the corner of her wide, round eyes. Somehow, Serafall's face was more pitiful than the face of a kicked puppy. It was a surreal sight for a Devil King to have such pitiful expression. However, Sona immediately felt bad when she saw Serafall's fake sad expression. Even though she knew Serafall was faking it, Serafall's mask, which was more pitiable than a kicked puppy, was something she couldn't ignore callously. Sona wasn't the only who felt sorry. Every member of her peerage felt sorry when they saw the Demon King Leviathan expression. They were also disturbed by the surreal side of the pouting Devil King. One-sama, please stop that. Stop guilt-tripping me with your fake pitiable expression. It won't fool me anymore. Sona lied through her teeth. She schooled her face with indifferent mask. Serafall let out small whine and dropped her fake sad expression. Well, I can still try, can I? She stuck out her tongue childishly toward Sona. Watching Serafall antic, Sona sighed tiredly. She was truly exhausted mentally after what has happened. She didn't have spare energy left for Serafall antic. Then, Sona focused her attention towards her sister and she spoke, One-sama, shouldn't you go back to Underworld? You must have enough workload to fill your free time, right? It is no good if a Devil King like you skipping over her work just like that. Please, go back to Underworld and finish your job. Serafall stared her sister's serious face for a while. Her usual childish face wasn't on and she seemed deep in thought. After few moments passed, Serafall opened her mouth, Ni, Sotan. Let's go back to Underworld with your One-chan. Huh? Sona showed a confused expression. She was truly at lost by her sister's sudden question. Then, she asked her sister with worried tone, One-sama, is something wrong? You seem worried about something. Serafall shook her head immediately, her twin tails swirling around by her head movements. She put on a forced grin, which was easily found out by Sona. At that moment, Sona could feel something was wrong with her sister. Sona has grown up with Serafall, and she knew her big sister very well. It was easy for Sona to find something was off with her sister. One-sama, are you really fine? Hahaha. Are you worried? Are you concerned for your One-chan? You make your One-chan happiest person in the whole world. Serafall paused, taking a calming breath. Then, she continued, but seriously, won't you go back to Underworld with your One-chan? I mean, I know your dream and your reason why you enrolled in here instead of some prestigious academy in Underworld, but don't you feel lonely? I mean, you can go back to our house after school finished, right? You can meet with father and mother every day too. The curriculum of academy there is good too. One-sama Sona voice stopped Serafall rants. Then, Sona continued, I have told you my reason why I choose schooling in Japan. This is about my dream, and I will do anything to make my dream becomes true, even if I must die while trying. Sona finished her explanation with stubborn, resolute expression. Seeing Sona's expression, Serafall knew she couldn't change her sister's decision. Serafall sighed when she was aware how futile her attempt to change her sister's decision. Her little sister was that stubborn when it was about something she has set her mind on. Sona could be more stubborn than her. And she did not want to make her sister sad. Serafall found she was in the between rock and hard place. When Sona saw Serafall's gloomy and worried expression, Sona didn't know what her sister actually thinking, but she was touched by her sister's concern. You don't need to worry, One-sama. I'll stay out of trouble, and if something dangerous which I cannot do something, I'll call you. Please believe in me, said Sona. Serafall stared Sona for a moment, her face blank. Then, she spoke with an uncertain tone, are you sure? When Serafall saw Sona resolute nod, the Devil King Leviathan pressed further, promise me you will do that. Sona was taken aback by her sister out of character attitude. However, she calmed herself and gave her sister nod. Don't worry, I promise, said Sona. Serafall sighed, slightly relieved by Sona's promise. Well, I'll go back to Underworld. Keep safe, Sotan, and remember, never make an enemy out of the Red Dragon Emperor. Don't worry, I don't plan to. Besides, he is far more powerful than me. Gaining his ire is the last thing I'm going to do. After listening to Sona's words, Serafall prepared teleportation magic circle with small wave of her wand. Serafall stared Sona and the rest of student council members for last time before she teleported back to the underworld. A moment later, Serafall successfully teleported back to the Leviathan Castle in capital city of Devil Territory, Lilith. She was teleported directly into her personal chamber. Serafall's personal chamber was massive. There was a wide bed which covered by the highest quality silk and a bed roof from black wood with detailed engraving, a massive wardrobe from the finest black wood with beautiful engraving, a wide mirror, and a massive shelf with books, an DVD, magical girl figurines and other stuffs. The chamber wall was covered by pink wallpaper with heart image. And the floor was also covered by ivory marble. On the ceiling, a luxurious chandelier was hanging on, lighting the whole room. Snap, the snapping sound echoed in the massive chamber. The sound came from Serafall's wand. The magical wand was split into two by Serafall's strong grip. Serafall was standing alone in the room, her bangs overshadowing the upper part of her face. When the broken magical wand dropped on the floor, Serafall's body started shaking. Then, Serafall dropped on her butts. After that, she pulled her knees closer to her and then buried her face on her knees. If somebody saw her hidden face, that one would see Serafall's horror-stricken face. Her forehead drenched with sweats. And her beautiful purple eyes dimmed slightly. What the heck is he actually? Serafall stuttered with a very low tone. Serafall's mind recalled the phantom image of Wide Drake Gotch rampaging, showing the absolute power of the Welsh dragon in his prime. It scared her, terrified her, and shook her soul. Such absolute power, a power she couldn't comprehend, absolute power which makes her power puny and laughable. It filled Serafall with despair, just imagining the pair of draconian red eyes locking on her. Furthermore, Serafall's instinct and intuition told her Issei Haidu held such power which could obliterate her at instant. And her instinct, which honed by the bloody devil civil war and sharp intuition, have never failed her. How someone so young can be that powerful? The Timajit was only illusion, and yet my instinct told me I am powerless if I ever face him. Is this the true power of the Welsh dragon? Is this how the true power of the Red Dragon Emperor when he mastered the boosted gear? Insane. This is insane. Just who are you, Issei Haidu? Serafall forcefully controlled her shaking body. She tried to calm herself. It was hard and arduous task, but after 10 minutes of regulating her breathing, she finally calmed herself. And at that moment, she felt something weird inside her underwear. That unknown thing which was in her underwear gave her discomfort from which how close it was with her vaginal entrance. She wasn't aware of this mysterious thing before because she forced her body from shaking in fright in front of Sona. After slipping her right hand into her miniskirts and underwear, Serafall took off the mysterious thing which invaded the most precious part of her body. It was a crumpled paper. And Serafall was bewildered and confused by how that thing was in there. Then, she opened the crumpled paper wide and she found numbers and Japanese characters written on it. Don't shy to call me if you need something. With regard, Red Dragon of the Blazing Truth, Issei Haidu. Serafall's eyes blinked owlishly as her mind tried to comprehend the message on the paper. When the Red Dragon Emperor slipped this paper inside my underwear. How could he do that without I noticed it? The question swirled in Serafall's head. However, there was no answer for her question. Serafall bit her lower lips and she chewed it lightly. Her mind churned, trying to find what the enigmatic dragon meant by all this. Issei Haidu was powerful and mysterious. Someone like him has always been seen as threat. She also saw Issei Haidu as a threat for her little sister's safety, but Sona was too stubborn and she knew that. Maybe I should find what he really wants from his own mouth, huh? Serafall contemplated silently. The idea of meeting the Red Dragon Emperor alone after what had happened in the student council office gave Serafall an uneasy feeling, but she couldn't back off. Besides, this was for Sona's safety and she would do everything for her little sister's sake. In the end, Serafall decided to text Issei and invite him for secret meeting, alone, only the two of them. Well, nothing bad will happen, right? Watching the clear blue sky with patches of fluffy white clouds, I felt in peace. My waist leaned on the iron fence, and my left hand which held my smartphone was close to my left ear. It was around lunchtime. And I have entered the class since I came to the school yet. Everything in the student council has taken some times, and before I know it, lunch was near when I finished my official first meeting with two heiress of 72 Pillar and the Devil King Leviathan of Devil Faction. Sorry for cutting your vacation with mom short G's, yes, this has a tie with supernatural. Don't worry dad, your son is strong, heck your son can kick God's butts if he wants okay, yes, by the way Aika, Murayama and Cadis will stay with us from tonight. There are also 3 stray fallen angels I picked out of the goodness in my heart sheesh. Pull your mind out of the gutter old man don't worry, I promise you and Mon can spoil bunch of grandbabies in the future meh, I don't think there won't be problem. If I and Aika isn't a student we can give you one soon, but alas oh, shut up old man. Do you want your son to be seen as a trash in society okay, I'll fetch you tonight of course it is faster with teleportation Magio. Come on dad. Teleportation isn't that bad okay maybe you're right about it yeah. You only need to hold back your motion sickness for short time nope, I'll fetch you and mom tonight and this is final. See you later dad. I pocketed my smartphone back after the call ended. I let out a tired sigh and turned my head upwards, watching the clear blue sky to calm my nerves. In this world, Issei's parents knew about supernatural. I told them before I entered junior high school. They thought I was joking at first, but after I showed boosted gear and introduced Drake to them, they finally believed in me. Of course I didn't tell them about my previous life, that knowledge was exclusively only for me and Drake. Though they freaked out at first, in the end they still accepted me as their son. Well, they truly loved Issei, or me in this reality, after they had difficulty having kids as they had 2 miscarriages before Issei was born. I asked them if they want me to turn them into dragon, they declined, and they said they were content being human. That could go better commented my partner, why Drake gotch, in my mind. I hummed in agreement. My parents were worried. I knew Issei Haidu was their only son, and they treasured Issei Haidu more than their life. The feeling being loved by parents was also a novel experience for me. I never had parents in my previous life. And it could be said I was very overprotective towards my parents. Because of my overprotectiveness, I didn't want them endangered by the supernatural. Now, we wait for Serafall to contact us. I paused for half second, though, I am unsure when she will contact me. I hope she won't be scarred mentally by intimidation. Intimidation, a trick Drake taught me in the past. It was similar yet fundamentally different than killing intent. Well, killing intent was a potent intent to kill somebody, intimidation was intent to show how powerless the target in front of me. Of course, the target must be far weaker than the user. After all, it was no use for a calf intimidating a tiger. It would be pitiful and laughable for the prey intimidating the predator. Who knows? She is clearly experienced. She can still put her mask on for her little sister's sake after the psychological attack she has suffered. However, I'm sure she has turned into a blubbering mess after she went back to the underworld. Drake paused for a moment. I don't know what kind of horrifying images our intimidation has given her, but I am sure you smelled it, the terror and fear, right partner? I shrugged my shoulder noncommittally. After that, we savored the comfortable silence between us. However, the silence wasn't last long. My smartphone rang again. That's fast. I mused out loud, thinking the caller was Serafall. But, I was surprised when I found out the caller was my home. Milted. Why is she calling me? Who knows? Just accept the call already. I pressed the green button image on the screen. And immediately I heard Milted's shaky voice. Issei Sama. W where are you? P please go back home T there is Eep. I was stupefied by Milted's terrified voice. A moment later, my newfound protectiveness for Milted kicked on full force. Milted? Are you fine? What happens? Calm down and tell me what happens. Issei Haidu, I fully calm and I bring someone who wants to meet you into your house. Wait. Is that you, Crom? You don't do anything to that little fallen angel, do you? If you dare to harm a hair of her, I swear I'll torture you until your mind becomes vegetable. I said with no small amount of bloodlust in my tone. Of course this is me. If I recall correctly, there isn't anybody else with name Crom Cruich, the Crescent Circle Dragon. And you seem taken by this little trash. I don't know you like to take a trash under your wing. Stop spouting nonsense. Now tell me what are you doing in my house? And heed my words Crom, don't you dare harm a single hair of that little fallen angel wait. What do you mean by somebody wants to meet me? Wait for me, I'll go back immediately. I calmed down as I recalled what Crom Cruich had told me. However, I was still anxious for Milted's safety. I discarded my plan to have a normal school day for today. And I slashed the empty air in front of me. A tear appeared on the empty space with my living room showed in the tear. I immediately stepped inside it and I arrived in my living room at instant. The tier was sewn back until a normal empty air left behind the previously torn space. My eyes swept over the room and I saw 3 figures in my living room, 2 were standing with 1 was leaning on the wall, while the last person was sitting comfortably on the sofa. Mildred was standing near the male newcomer. Her body was shaking in fear and her forehead drenched by sweats. I immediately moved closer towards her. "Mildred, are you fine? You weren't harmed, are you?" I asked with a worried tone. Mildred jumped by my sudden question. Her head whipped back to face me, her pupils shaking in pure terror. However, when she found out it was me, she immediately jumped towards my torso and hugged me tightly, as if her life depended on me. "Issei-sama. Issei-sama. You're back." I'm scared sob. A scary evil dragon, and the Ouroboros dragon suddenly appears out of nowhere sob. I think I'm dead for sure. Issei-sama. I was slightly stunned when Mildred bawled on me like that. She was truly afraid, her body leaking the smell of terror without end. I immediately calmed myself and started patting her head, trying to calm her. When my palm caressed her blonde hair, her grip on my torso tightened. She was truly terrified. My attention moved towards the other 2 in the room. Both newcomers were watching me, calming a distraught and terrified young fallen angel. "I cannot understand how your mind works at all, Issei Haidu." The first newcomer, the male one, said with a bemused smile on his handsome face. He had the appearance of a tall man wearing a black coat with a mixture of black and blonde hairs, as well as heterochromic eyes, where his right eye was gold and his left eye was black. He was Crom Cruach, otherwise known as the Crescent Circle Dragon, and he was the strongest evil dragon. He was formerly affiliated with the Chaos Brigade's Klepeth, along with the other evil dragons, revived or not, under Rizavam Live and Lucifer, but now he was in my side after he heard my dragon festival plan and became my informant in Klepeth. "Crom," I whispered his name softly. After Crom gave me a small nod, my attention shifted to the next newcomer who was sitting on the sofa calmly. When I saw her for the first time, I immediately knew who it was. "It seems like she appears sooner than what you predicted. I know very much the light novel isn't something I can use as my life guide blindly. Besides, sooner I meet with her, the better. Are you still thinking to manipulate her? Let me give you warning again, partner, she is known as the strongest being for reason. What will happen if she finds out you're merely using her for your personal gain? She will erase you and your soul for sure, partner. You should stop planning for that. Yes, and look how her supposedly subordinates in Chaos Brigade treat her to them. She is nothing more than a figurehead and power source. Do as you wish, but I have warned you, Edward." After Drake gave me peace of his mind, I focused back towards the little girl Crom Cruach brought into my house. Her appearance was that of a cute young girl with long black hair down to her hips and lifeless grey eyes. Her ears differed from a normal human's as they have pointed tips, although her long black hair makes this feature difficult to notice. Her attire consisted of a black gothic Lolita fashion, a gothic dress which showed her torso, belly button and her budding breasts, a puffy purple-colored short, a separated collar with purple bow, and purple hairband with frills. She was also barefooted. Though she looked like a young girl, Office was a true shapeshifter, able to freely manipulate her body shape and size to assume any form that she chooses, regardless of her age, race, or gender. She was Office, who was also known as Ouroboros Dragon, the Infinity Dragon God, the Ultimate Dragon, and the Strongest Dragon. Of course, Great Red was in his own league above Office as the ultimate existence. "Office, well, it is good meeting with you, I suppose." I greeted the lowly dragon god, or should I call her goddess since she took female appearance. Whatever, I will call her dragon goddess as long as she stays female. "Drake, no. You're different than Drake's other hosts in the past. You are a dragon too." With a dull, lifeless gaze as if piercing into my soul, Office stated flatly. I raised my eyebrow in interest. "Well, my name is Issei Haidu, and you can also call me the Crimson Dragon of Blazing Truth, but you can simply call me Ice." "I shall call you Ice then," said Office with flat tone. Before I could ask Office why she was here, though I could predict her reason, Drake's voice in my mind took my attention away from Office. "It seems like your little fallen angel is fallen asleep from exhaustion. Take her to her room so you can have free conversation with Office." I blinked owlishly from Drake's speech. I stared down and found out what Drake said was true. Mildred had fallen asleep though her hands kept gripping my uniform tightly. I sighed at that. Then, I faced my guests. "Excuse me, I want to tuck in this little fallen angel in her room, if you don't mind. Do as you wish, but don't waste my time. And also remember my favorite when you're back." "I do not mind." Crom and Office replied with each other's style. I wanted to sigh again when I heard Crom's absurd demand, but I held back. It was normal for me after how many times Crom appeared in my house out the blue just for asking his favorite. Somehow, instead of accomplice, I was becoming his personal chef. "Well then, excuse me." I shifted my body slightly and then I carried Melted on my arms. Then, I went into Melted's personal room with teleportation. After tucking Melted in her bed, I immediately headed towards the kitchen. I took dozen kilo of bananas and other ingredients to cook from the fridge. After that, I started cooking. 10 minutes later, I finished my special Black Forest cake and a bale full of special banana ice cream. I used magic to speed up the baking and freezing process for my treats. Then, I brought them into the living room. When I entered the living room, I saw Crom Cruich moved from her position, leaning on the wall, to the table. His heterochromic eyes glinted with glee when he saw the extra-large serving of banana ice cream. I rolled my eyes towards Crom Cruich's absurd fascination and crazy addiction for banana. Oh, well, in this reality, Crom's addiction and fascination for banana was basically my fault because I was the one who let him taste the forbidden fruit, just to test the integrity of the knowledge I remembered from the canon. Ice, what is this? Surprisingly, Office asked what was in front of her. I could only blink, confused. It is Black Forest, a kind of cake, a sweet. Then, understanding dawned in my head. Tell me, Office, do you never taste a cake before? No. I think it is useless. I only want my home back. I let out a long sigh. This wasn't a tired sigh, but a relieved sigh. So far, I found out Office wasn't so much different from the Office I knew in high school DxD light novel. Being born from nothingness, Office rarely showed any sort of emotion, only wanting to get rid of the Great Red and return to the dimensional gap to obtain silence. She was honest and pure dragon who was naive. However, I couldn't be so sure without more fact laid on in front of me. Well, this was the perfect time to find out if this Office was similar with the Office from canon high school DxD. So you want your home back? If there is someone who can take over your home, Great Red is one in my mind. Yes, stupid Red has stolen my home. I want my home back. When Office said this, there was emotion flashed in her usually lifeless grey eyes, annoyance. Office stared towards me, and then she said, Drake, I want you to join my organization which I created to get rid stupid Red and take my home back. I think I cannot answer that, Office. Why is that? Right now, I am only a soul sealed in this sacred gear. My partner, Issei Haidu, is the one who has the last word in the end. Office's attention shifted from the green jewel on the back of my left hand to my face. Then, she finally invited me, Ice, join my organization which I created to get rid stupid Red and take my home back. I cocked my eyebrows in amusement. So, she finally focused on me after ignoring me more than a minute. She was a rude cute little girl. Well, unfortunately, I already had a plan in mind. Let me think about it first. I'll tell you my answer later. However, why don't you try the treat I have made for you? It seems the Crom is nearly finished with his own treat. I said while gazing at the ravenous dragon devouring the banana ice cream. Honestly, I couldn't understand his fascination for banana and neither had I wanted to understand. Office tilted her head slightly, her lifeless eyes gazing to me. Then, she shifted her attention from me to the untouched Black Forest on the table. After a moment of silence, with only the sound of Crom eating his treat filling the room, Office's hand finally moved. She poked the iced cream on the cake and then brought her finger to her mouth. Her eyes immediately opened wide when the marvelous taste of my cooking exploded in her mouth. At that instant, her hand lashed into the cake, taking a fistful cake, like a snake which she was. Then, she began eating the cake with mysterious glint in her grey eyes. I just blinked, none pulsed, when I saw that. Surprisingly, she ate the cake slowly, savoring the taste until the last crumb in her hand. And she would take another fistful cake with her hand and repeated the cycle. I could only watch the spectacle with a bemused smile. There were two dragons, one was the strongest member of top 10, and the other was the strongest evil dragons. However, what I was watching didn't give it justice for their name. In front of me, I just saw two children eating their favorite treat gleefully. Well, now I needed a plan to put Office on my palm and dance in my tune. The more she dependent on me, the better it was. However, my smartphone rang, disturbing my thinking process. With a slight annoyance, I fished my phone out of my breast pocket and checked it. My eyebrow rose as I saw the sender of the new text. I checked the content and my lips curled into a small satisfied smile. Finally, Serafall contacted me. And it seems that she wanted to meet me alone. Is this a date? Well, who am I ignoring the date invitation from my #1 favorite character, A? After replying Serafall's text, I focused my attention back into Office. At that moment, my mind worked hard to find a masterful plan to manipulate Office. Thanks for watching this video. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow the Mr. Literature Connoisseur for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.